pay it forward, smile, put stuff out there, whether you're writing a book or writing a movie,
Mhm.
put a story behind it, be very artistic and creative with it as opposed to just going to the ratchetness. That's just weird.
Nice to meet you. I
Nice
mean,
to meet you.
it's interesting. I've never had somebody on that somebody else has recommended, or
Uh-huh.
I chatted with somebody else about, which is like, you must be the bee's knees somewhere.
Ah, nah,
You've
regular
got,
guy, regular
yeah,
guy having fun out here promoting positivity. That's all.
cool. I love
Yeah.
that. So
Mhm.
you're the first person that I'm actually gonna say this. I've literally just, because I never had a proper name for my podcast,
Yes.
and this came on Sunday, actually, Saturday,
Mhm.
because it was just my name, Phoenix Gigs. That was my name of the podcast. I've literally just named it the Phoenix Podcast
The
because,
f-
yes,
yeah.
it's. I know you can laugh if you like. That's fine.
No, I won't. I won't. I
because
enjoy.
because this is the idea behind it for me was anybody can share some story about their life and about their journey, and it's going to be inspiring for other people, but also it's that story of rebirth, of
Right.
rebirth, and how people, I don't know, grow through
Hmm.
life and
Hmm.
whatever happens in their life. So
Yeah.
welcome to the Phoenix Podcast.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm very much so inspired. Thanks so much for that story. I really appreciate it. But thanks for getting me on. Thanks for good to be here, and glad to see you, and interested in the conversation that we can have.
Yes,
Mhm.
well, great to have you here. So
Yeah.
let's get straight into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, if you would like to tell anybody that's watching and listening a little bit about yourself
Mhm.
and, yeah, what brought you here basically?
Uh,
What's a little bit of story?
what brought me to Earth, I guess, was just the gift of music. You know what I mean? It was in my DNA. My dad was a musician, and it started when I was 5 years old. Just interested so much in music and enjoyed sound, enjoyed instrumentation. Throughout the years, I've just kind of learned how to play a bunch of different instruments, and all of my music is going to be played by me, produced by me, engineered by me, written by me. It's just as an artist, it's important that when I put my music out, that it has positivity in it. And it's
Mhm.
just as simple as that. I think it's important as artists, if we're gifted to do music, it is, I believe, our responsibility to make sure we can infiltrate the world with positivity. And we have to learn how to love better as a nation. We have to kind of put out in the atmosphere music and things that's going to help build people up as opposed to tearing them down.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. So where are you, by the way? Where are you
I'm in
in the world?
America. I'm in America in the southern area of the East Coast, so I'm South Carolina.
Cool.
Mhm.
Well, I'm in the UK currently, but
Yeah,
I've I've got a lot of friends. I've got a lot of friends in the US, so it's
yeah.
great. Every time I talk to somebody from there, it's just like, oh, so spot in my heart.
Well, you want to be here.
Oh man, I've been there. I went there last year, and
Wow.
that's another journey. That's another story.
Yes.
But oh my God, maybe I feel like it's gonna be part of my journey going forward too.
Mhm.
So who knows?
Yeah, I'm interested in coming or going anywhere that I can, just to kind of experience something different. America is what it is, and everybody has their culture and they have their nation, and they do in their nation what they feel. I think it's important that we can go into someone else's territory and just look, pay attention,
Yeah,
and not that we're better or you guys are better. It's just good to just kind of meet people and network. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to the UK too. So if you're looking forward to the US, I'm looking forward to come to the UK.
Do you have any plans of coming over anytime soon, or?
There's been some talks about a couple things happening there, but until it looks like I need it to look, I'll wait, and I may take a leisure trip over just to take a look at it and come on
Yeah.
back. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
well,
knows?
that's how it starts. You gotta
Hmm.
dip your toe in first, or
Hmm.
or just jump in first. Who knows? I am the toe dipper and the jump in.
Just jump. Yeah.
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 So okay, I want to know about you a little bit, like your background, your growing up story.
Yeah.
How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, at 5, I was a guy that stayed. My family was religious church people. They loved to go and experienced They would call it the Holy Spirit. And
Mhm.
I was brought up in the church, played music into the church at 5 years old. I can remember, strumming the guitar on the front pew, as they call them.
Yeah.
And when the music stopped, I would stop and fall asleep. And as soon as I hear it, ramp back up again, I'm up again, strumming along with my guitar. And it just kind of matriculated into something really, really huge.
Mhm.
Music was my saving grace. I grew up in a broken home. My dad was there, but then wasn't there. My mother was there a whole lot. I had sisters, and I grew up like that. And grew up in the '80s, at the height of the pandemic of that era. And sometimes you can succumb to those sorts of things, but I didn't to some degree. I didn't get caught, I would say. I just
Yeah.
kind of used music as somewhere to get rid of my frustrations and just have fun and just download. That was my piece. As I went through high school, I had a couple of great opportunities. I played at the Waldorf Astoria with my steel drum band there, and music was just always there, always present, always in my heart. I was good at playing football and decided that I wanted to play or do music. So I
Right.
started as a freshman on the football team, and I quit because I enjoyed the band a whole lot more than getting tackled. And although I was good and I enjoyed it, I loved music more. And next week or two, they on the sidelines laughing at me because I'm on the band playing the bass drum. So I kind of got ridiculed a little bit for that, not just from the students, but from the coaches too. Um, and they're just laughing at me. But I didn't really care. Just the passion I had for it. I just wanted to stay with it, and I
Mhm.
did. All up until high school, I did music, whether it be jazz band, whether it be steel drum band, and I started singing fairly early. I can't remember exactly when, but I never had the urge or the nerve to do it. Church kind of massaged that to kind of be cool with singing in front of an audience.
Mhm.
And I tell a story about a guy called his name is Jeremy Hanna. I was excuse me,
Mhm.
walking uh through trying to get home, I think, and I was walking in an area trying to exit the school, and he was coming up that same area, and I'm singing along to something, and he was known as a singer. And as he was coming up, he heard me singing and he asked me who was that. I said I didn't know. He said that was you, wasn't it? And he kind of knew because we sang at church a little bit. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I got nerve then to start, and I just kind of got a little more comfortable with singing. And when I started and continued to, it kind of got easier, and excuse me, and I enjoyed it more and more and more and more. And it just kind of just became something that I continuously want to do. And as time went on, I did a couple of projects for a couple of people, demos, and started writing. When I got an opportunity to write by to write some music, I thought had an opportunity to have a meeting with an executive who was writing for an artist. I didn't get the opportunity because although my music was good, I didn't have any direction towards the song.
Mhm.
So not only did he want music, but he wanted direction for the song. I couldn't provide the direction because at that time I'm just thinking people was looking for tracks, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't it. So I didn't get the opportunity, but it just kind of pushed me to kind of pursue it more. Got in a couple of gospel groups and sang more and produced more, and went to school for audio engineering at the Institute of Audio Research. Stayed there for some years. Well, I didn't stay there for a year. I stayed there for a year. Got a diploma from there, and just kind of had a child in 1998. And at that time, they were handing out interns. Interns equated to no money for me, so I had to get a job, and I did, but I still did music, and here I am today. I don't know, 20 years later, still doing it, still have the passion for it, and uh, that's where I am. The music at this point came from just my love and my hunger to want to promote positivity.
Mhm.
Um, um, my appreciation for women and empowerment and positivity came all the time. I would say my convictions with my religion background and my love for um, not wanting to be the protagonist of evil. I
Mhm.
wanted to use my artistry in the light of just, you know, promoting towards positivity. And I'm not necessarily doing gospel music. I'm doing R&B, but um, I meshed the two by speaking positive all the time. And although religious circles may look at it as still doing R&B, I'm still not being raunchy. I'm still love. I'm still appreciating the woman, the essence of a woman. I'm still appreciating their love, their essence, empowering them. I'm in essence giving back to them what they deserve. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that as artists we do that and promote that.
I think that's very beautiful. I mean, I don't hear of many people that would want to do that in general, but
Yeah.
having a voice,
Hmm.
like literally in your case, to
Yeah.
actually do that, to
Hmm.
put positivity out there rather than anything else. That's because the world is full of all sorts right now. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
very much appreciated, coming from
Hmm.
a female here.
Yeah. It's difficult, really. I'll say this: it's difficult sometimes, really, because you see what's out there in public. You see what's out there, and people are liking the stuff that is not so respected, no, not so respectable.
Mm,
So, sometimes, not often, but I pay attention and I'm like, man, I wonder what's so fascinating about disrespect.
mm,
I wonder what's so fascinating about being just raunchy. And I get, sometimes, we have fun in those sorts of settings. And I know sometimes it's okay, but that just can't be something that you continuously do and you make a lifestyle out of it. That's just weird. I think people need to smile more. People need to laugh more. People just need, and I know sometimes life within itself, without anything attached to it, it's just going to provide you with so many different things that's not going to be positive. And for us to take that mantra and just kind of circulate it through our spirit in our life and just kind of let that emanate through our spirit, I
mm,
kind of don't really enjoy that. I would prefer to just turn that around and just, man, pay it forward, smile, put stuff out there, whether you're writing a book or writing a movie,
mhm.
put a story behind it, be very artistic and creative with it as opposed to just going to the ratchetness. That's just weird for me.
Yeah. Would you say there was a certain point in your life when you decided to go this path, or has this been a long life journey of yours of
Mhm.
I just want to do positive stuff and just put that out there? Or
Yeah, it became a little more clearer of what that positive journey was throughout my life. Now I'm able to hone in on what those things are without conviction. I'm cool with it. As you mature in your life, sometimes when you're not mature to some degree, you're kind of trying to follow what the trend is.
yeah.
When you're comfortable with who you are, comfortable in your skin, it's a lot easier to kind of just do what you're comfortable with doing. And for me, it's just what it is. Was it difficult? Not necessarily, because I was never comfortable with being disrespectful. You know what I
Mm,
mean? I was
mhm,
never comfortable. So a lot of people ask me, what was it that got you to do it? It wasn't what got me to do it, as opposed to what made it comfortable for me to do it. And I think
mm.
as you mature and life kind of hands you different things, you'll kind of pull back on what you've given out and it becomes comfortable for you. And at this point, it's just easy for me to be respectful. It's hard for me to be disrespectful. You know what I mean? But, oftentimes the world just puts out the negative things. And sometimes, if you think about it psychologically, whatever you feed your spirit, whatever you feel your person, is normally what's going to come out of you. And for me, I'm comfortable. I'm good with the positivity, and I'm not going to feed my spirit or give anybody else anything that's going to be negative, that's going to contribute to some sort of chaos in their life.
So it just comes naturally to you. You're
Hmm.
more naturally inclined. And I get the metaphor of what you put into your soul because I've heard this thing with somebody describing a garbage truck, let's
Hmm.
say, because that just pours out a lot of garbage because that's what the
Yes.
garbage truck is. So if you're the person that's, I don't know, full of goodness in your soul, you're just going to put that out.
Hmm.
It's refreshing, to be honest,
Hmm.
because yeah, like you said, the world that we live in, depending on where you look, you
Hmm.
can find all the negative end of the stick,
Right.
let's say,
Right.
and it seems like you're directing your view
Mm.
on the more positive end.
Hmm.
Do you feel like do you ever go through stages of imbalance, let's say, or I don't know, like things happening on a day-to-day basis
Hmm.
that creates some discomfort in you, or I don't know.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I do, because sometimes people will take your niceness for weakness.
Mm,
Some
mhm,
people will take your generosity and your love for the love, you know, as a weakness, and that's irresponsible on that person's side. And I put that essence out in the world. That's not a license to disregard or just think it's weak, because it is where people think you're weak is where you're really strong, and those people will have to kind of take into account themselves and just really look. So regardless of how people treat you, you still have to have a level of love, right?
mhm.
For me, I don't care what your financial status is. I don't care what your sexual preferences. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care what your color is, your geographical location. I don't care what any of that is. It still needs love to be placed there. It's with love and kindness that I'm going to draw them people into the idea of what true love is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what does that look like on a day-to-day basis for you? Like,
Oh man.
how do you pour this into the world? Like a more personal kind of a level,
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
people surrounding you, like your five most important people in your life, how are they
Yeah.
receiving that? Or,
They receive it, but they're also protective of it, right?
right.
So any and everybody that comes around me that's not putting forth that love towards me. So I have people very close to me that's going to make sure that the people that are in my life, outside of them, they're going to do checks and balances. So I'm very protected when it comes to who I am and how I love and how I think. And those people um, counsel me into a direction that's going to be like, you're doing good, you're fine. Just be careful of this, be careful of that. Don't be afraid to put boundaries down. Understand that that love is a gift all by itself, and if it's not properly cared for, even that can be taken advantage of. So
Mhm.
I do have people that love me enough to kind of say, "You're doing okay, you're fine, but watch out for that, watch out for this, take heed to that, take care." So I do have people around me that's going to kind of check me. So it's not like I'm not checking
I was gonna
everything
say, to have
around me.
people call you on your own bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's not like I'm not, kind of being vigilant with my own self. It's like I'm just kind of left it off to people to do. No, I have to be careful. I have to be careful on what I and who I surround myself with, because people will take advantage and wouldn't think twice about it. So I have to be clear and conscious that some boundaries cannot be crossed, some areas of my life can't be crossed, and I have to protect me at all costs. And
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get it. I get it
yeah,
because we all have our. I mean, I understand even the being nice and being s- walked on, basically.
yeah,
As you
yeah.
turn, we do have this tendency, I guess, a lot of us, to just become people pleasers
Hmm.
for whatever reason, and forget about all what we want and how we feel,
Right.
just just to make sure that everybody else is okay and things like that.
Hmm.
And we just become that without realizing sometimes.
Hmm.
It's not like it's a necessarily a bad thing, but the
Hmm.
more you grow, like you said, the more you mature, the more you learn about yourself, the more you recognize who you are and who you want
Hmm.
around yourself.
Hmm.
So that's why I even meant the people, having people to call you on your own bullshit too, because sometimes
Absolutely.
we forget, and they're called blind spots for a reason.
Yes.
So I see so much value into people that are around us that can actually point that out too, when we become a bit
Y-
unbalanced in any kind
let
of way.
me tell you this. That's a very very important statement there, because what happens sometimes is we can kind of get used to what we surround ourselves with,
Yeah.
and sometimes the people that we get into our circle, they're going to challenge you on things that you've never challenged yourself about. But just be clear. I'll have to say and add this: you have to even be careful on what that person looks like and what
Mm,
that person is, what their heart looks like, how does it appears. Because if those people are unclear or have a heart that isn't healed, they're not going to be able to help you get to there. So it has to be a
100%.
person that's responsible enough, has to be a person that's going to understand what that is and be open for the conversation. What
Yeah.
I found, and this is one of the regretful things for me, is sometimes you won't be as open to so many conversations, is because sometimes you've had conversations that wasn't tended to properly, and you're not able to, get those or communicate those things out because some probably might not have been healed in that certain area. So sometimes you can even be dysfunctional in the dysfunction. Sometimes you can just, be in a situation and not know that, man, at some point, you're going to get challenged on this. Probably
Yeah.
one of the things that I saw with me was when I processed, sometimes I processed internally, and I found it difficult and or scary to process outwardly,
Mm.
because of whatever reason. Who knows? Maybe the person that I was maybe didn't want to hear it that way. And sometimes, as you said earlier, we worry about everybody else's feelings and internalize ours. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, we're left, here trying to figure out what we need to do for us. So you got to put people around you that's going to allow you to bring those things out. They seek first to understand what you're saying. They
Mm.
don't seek first to respond. They seek first to understand what it is you're saying. And then that's where true healing come. That's where you can really, really blossom in what you're gifted and called to do. For me, those sorts of conversations helped me process and get through them. And those are the areas where you can truly, truly be transparent and not worry about, a person judging you for a certain reason. They're going to be responsible with what you tell them, and then they'll be able to help you out and move forward in many other different ventures that you have in your life. So it's good to have those people around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people that hold you accountable and that's not afraid to say, yo, yeah, nah, can't do that, man. Can't do that. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've had situations in your life? I mean, we're human. Challenges arise, right? Every opportunity they arise.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, did you have any,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like really challenging times when you had to, let's say, rely on other people to help you
Mm-hmm.
out of darkness, let's say, or
Mm-hmm.
even in the good times, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people think about, oh, when we have these bad times and there's somebody there for me. But even in the good times, we forget about the good times because
Yeah.
we celebrate life as well that way with
Mm-hmm.
the people that surround us. So has there been any
Well,
situations where?
what had to, okay, so I was married for 21 years. I lost my bride 2023 last year. That process within itself was something that I had to internalize and figure out and piece and process together myself. I did take the time to process and do the work that I needed to do to me personally first. So
Yeah.
whatever that looked like for me, I was game with being by myself, not wanting to communicate, just kind of taking that time away from everything. Do something that you love. If it's sit on the couch and watch TV, do it, process through it. I think those were some healthy moments for me. They were healthy because it caused me to kind of really look into me, to really see what that new life was going to be. Life at this point has adjusted itself, right?
Mhm.
So you put people around you, as I stated before, that's not going to necessarily judge you, but they're going to help you through the process even more, right? So it's only but so much you can do for yourself to some degree. Sometimes it takes a very, very special individual to help you process through a little more so you can truly, truly be on the road to serious, serious love and life. Those were challenging moments for me. But life is just going to be different. Every day you wake up, it's going to be something new. You have to journey your way through it, and you have to be honest with yourself. You cannot lie. And sometimes it's going to make you uncomfortable. Sometimes it's going to make you shake your head like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But if you do not stop that process, I promise you that there's sunshine on the other side. I promise you
Mhm.
that. But if you close yourself off to the process, if you close yourself off to what can initially be exactly your healing, you'll never get healed. You can never lie to yourself. Never. If you lie to yourself, you're not putting forth good energy into yourself to process through it and trying to get healed. It's important. I always say that. Don't lie to yourself. If you do not lie to yourself, if you're honest with yourself, you'll come out on top. But if you do not, you'll continuously have a process of regret. I don't know, just confusion, all of these things. So be clear and honest with yourself, and that's going to help you process through them.
I love that because as you were talking about it, I could hear Jordan Peterson because he says that quite a lot
Mm-hmm.
about tell the truth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
tell the truth. It doesn't matter if it's start with yourself, just like you said. You know,
Yep.
just like you said, you gotta tell yourself the truth because you're lying to yourself, and every day you're a different person. Every
Yes.
day you wake up, you're not the same person as you were
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, and you've got a different choice to make every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was, besides you sitting with yourself, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
did you have any other processes that you went through? Like, I know a lot of people go to therapy, a lot of people meditate, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
have spiritual practices that they
Mm-hmm.
do. Did you have any of those that incorporated in your day-to-day life or?
Yeah, I encourage therapy, which was something that I did. I encouraged life coaching. I encouraged music was a huge part of what my peace was, because my music to me brings that level of peace to me. And
Yeah.
it's not sometimes that you're recording anything, you can sit on a piano and just play. Those things for me were soothing. Did I have a lot of conversation with a lot of people? No, I didn't.
Mm,
Because sometimes people can antagonize a situation way past what's necessary, right?
mm,
And sometimes people don't understand what your process is, because your process is going to be different from anybody's. So it's important that you're honest with yourself, as we stated, be clear on what that path is, walk in that direction, find a therapist. Do not say, I don't need one. If you don't think you need one, more than likely you probably need one. Right?
yeah.
So, have a conversation with wise counsel. Speak with someone that's going to really, really not necessarily challenge you so soon, but at least go through the process and heal here. Because sometimes, more times than often, we just need to just kind of talk. Just talk,
Yeah.
get all the information out, and then we kind of got to go backtrack and just kind of fact check everything. Make sure everything that you're saying is kind of lining up what reality is. And sometimes we can have a false perception of what it is. When you can kind of have that conversation, talk, and kind of just mix it all around and just kind of find the conclusion. I'm always conclusion based. I've been that way for a long time. Once I know what the conclusion is and how it got to that point, I can probably be okay. Some people, they don't want to hear the conclusion. They just want to bask in the foolish. And yeah, that's annoying to me. I would rather find the conclusion, because it's in the conclusion that I'm going to find my healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's everybody's got a different process, I guess, of
Yeah,
how
for
they
sure.
find their own. Because many people, and I see the value in speaking for
Mm-hmm.
sure, 100%,
Yep.
because you can sit in your room and just it going round in circles in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that saying of a problem shared is a problem halved or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I totally see the value in that too. Now, what are your plans now? Where is your life right now? What are you doing currently? Why are
currently,
you here?
currently, I'm still writing positive music. I'm currently right now. I'm building the podcast segment of the Kenny J brand into having conversation, and I think that's going to help promote the positive music. And I think it's good to have conversations like this. I have them all too often, and I think it's just time for me to really just kind of branch out and
Mm,
do some podcast stuff, and just be a part of wonderful people in the podcast community, where I can be a part of the positive energy. I think it's better if I get it out. If I hold it in, it's not going to be all that great. I want to get it out and have the conversation and unpack these things. Music,
mhm.
of course, relationship, of course, building my family, building wealth, and still doing business and doing music this year, putting out some more gospel music. I got the Christmas record coming out this year. Top of the second quarter, or the first quarter of next year, I got another Back to Rhythm and Love Volume 2 coming out. So I'm gonna be really, really busy doing this thing that I love so much. I love it. I I love it. I love it. I love it. So I
I love
can't I can't stop it, and it feels really really good to have a purpose and just to pursue it. So
it's
that's why
very
I am here.
yes, it's very
Yeah.
refreshing to hear. Like not a lot of
Thank you.
people go through life and find their purpose, you know.
Mhm.
Some people just go through the whole entirety of their life. I can't say that I fully found mine, to be honest.
Mhm.
We're
Wow.
talking it's like this the podcast in particular feels like the one thing that's my baby, let's
Mhm.
say,
Mhm.
where it just fills my heart with joy to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So to be able to provide the space for other people to share their stories is just
Yeah.
freaking amazing to me.
Yeah.
Oh God, you said something that I wanted to ask and now I forgot
Wow.
because I put that part in there. Oh, your business. You said
Yes.
doing business. What is your
Yes.
business?
Well, other than the studio business, other than the music business, other than the podcast business, I have a trucking company that I run also. So
Cool.
yeah. Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
completely
I'm
other.
busy.
I mean, this
Yes,
is what, yes, because abundance doesn't come in one form, right? Abundance is
absolutely,
in so many areas, and it doesn't have to be money in particular. It can be
absolutely.
anything, like abundance of words, abundance of air, of
Yeah,
leaves, of grass,
yeah, 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 yeah,
abundance
yeah.
of
Oh,
friends and special people in your life,
hmm
right? So
hmm
there's all of that goodness.
yeah,
Cool. Do you have any children or
yeah.
anything?
I have 3 kids. I have a
Oh, that's
21-year
so cool.
old, I have a 23-year-old, and I have a 26-year-old, and a grandson that's 4 years old. So yes, I have a
Oh
whole
my
family.
God, that's so sweet. How old
Yeah,
are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in my 40s.
In your 40s. Yeah, I know people are so funny with asking about ages. I don't know why. To me, I don't care. It's like people talking about their age and about their sexual preferences and money. It's
Right.
like there's like so touchy subjects, and in my head,
Yeah.
it's like, there's no such thing as touchy subject. So I'm gonna ask your age. If you're gonna
Yeah.
say it, cool. If not, not. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't care. I don't care for that. But you
Yeah.
don't look. I don't see you too clearly. I don't know whether whether it's your camera, but I know at the end of this it's all gonna be very clear. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot tell what age you are. So when you
Oh,
said 26, I'm like, holy shit balls.
yeah. My oldest is 26. She was born in 1998. My son is 23 and my daughter is 21. And I got a 4-year-old grandson. So,
Oh
um,
my God, that's so awesome. So
yeah.
what do you do as a grandpa? How do you navigate that? That must have been a completely different level
It's
of
a completely thing. It's because I'm a disciplinarian, right? So,
okay,
I'm kind of hard,
bringing
on
down the rules.
bringing down the rules because sometimes I just kind of think sometimes stuff is just so lax. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, it's not a big deal. It's like, yes, that's a big deal. Because to me, you got to train them up in a way that's, we've been raised and we can see what the world is from our perspective. And we can
Yeah.
see some of the things that we've done. I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have did that. Nah, I can't do this. Can't do that. So now when you have little kids coming up, it's like, yeah, you got to kind of make sure that everything they do, it's like sometimes I just think, sometimes in life, there's really no room for mistakes.
Mm,
There's really no room for continued mistakes. Okay, when you make one, okay, I got it. But how many mistakes do you have to do before it's just like, I got a lot to recover from? It's like, what can you do?
mhm,
So it's just not with my grandson, it's with my daughters, and my son. I just feel like I have to be there to help him navigate. Gratefully, thankfully, they call and hey, they kind of touch base with dad and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I did write a song on Back to Rhythm and Love Volume 1 called Protect Your Heart. And
mm,
Protect Your Heart was written out of a conversation that I had with my 21-year-old daughter, whom she's getting into the dating scene. And it is crazy out here in these streets, I would say. And the young untrained man, guy, boy, was just trying to get a little more than he should have been getting.
mm,
Um, he didn't know her mom's name. He didn't know my name. He didn't know her favorite color. And he was really pursuing an area of relationships that in most cases shouldn't be pursued until you get to that level.
mm,
And I'm proud of her because she talked to me about it. And the essence of it was, Dad, I just told him, nah, I can't. No, you don't know my mom. You don't know anything about me. And she's very protective of herself. And that song "Protect Your Heart" was written out of that conversation. So the music that I write, it has a huge influence on my kids. They're paying attention to what I do, and that's why I'm so adamant in making sure that what I put out is going to be something that my 4-year-old can listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know what I mean?
there's a great point you made there about what you put out and how you do things is how you show them. Basically, it's not by
Absolutely.
telling them, right? Because we can tell our kids
Yep.
whatever, but
Yep.
if we don't do the same, or if we don't do what we preach, then they're gonna pick up on that part, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's so much value in showing rather than telling,
That's right.
because
Absolutely.
see, even the discipline part, because you said we can only teach them so much, we can only
Right.
tell them so much, show them so much. They're gonna make mistakes, they're gonna
Yeah.
fail, they're
It's
gonna
inevitable.
they're gonna
Yes.
learn from it, right?
It's going to happen.
Right, and we have a lot to learn from them too. I totally
Absolutely.
believe it. I totally
Mm-hmm.
believe it. I've noticed just my kids, mine are younger, mine
Okay.
are 8, 11, and 13.
Oh my goodness.
I've got two boys and one little girl. So the girl is the youngest. And
She's the boss.
oh my, she's
It
so much.
always happens. It always
Honestly,
happens that way.
I don't know if she is or not, to be honest, but she's very strong-minded, and I love that about her. I
Yeah.
love that about her. She doesn't take any bullshit from anybody,
Yeah.
and I love that she's so hot-spirited, but
Yeah.
also very emotional as well. And I don't know, she just has her own way of dealing with life. And I love that. I love that I didn't get a chance to do that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that I'm getting somehow a second chance of doing something different, because
Yes.
if I see her through my eyes somehow, I could try to mold her in a certain way to prepare her for this world. But then she's not going to live in the world that I lived in.
That's very
So she's,
true.
so
And
she's going to grow in her own little ways, and it's just nice to see her being herself. And not to say that my boys are any different, because
yeah. Yeah.
they're all their own little individuals, but I think I resonate with her a bit more because it's women, girls, whatever.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad that you're saying that, because sometimes the older folk in our generation guided us, just put us out there and just like do it. This generation is a lot different,
Yeah.
because they're not afraid
Yeah.
of nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. And my daughter went to a protest this last week, and she said, "Well, Dad, I'm going to a protest." I'm saying, "What for?" She said, "I don't know." I'm like, "Why the hell are you going to a protest then? Like, what are you doing?" No, I don't know. I said, "What the protest?" Or some guy did this and he's got arrested and we're protesting. I'm like, "Okay, so be careful." So she's got me on FaceTime and I'm looking, and I'm like, where is everybody at? Like, who are you meeting? Like, no, my friends are over. She must have walked for maybe 10 minutes. And
Mhm.
I'm like, where are you going? I'm like, yeah, you need to go home. Like, what are you going? Me and my lady was looking like, what exactly are you doing? Like, how is it? Are you? We were confused about what her desire was. So at some point, she made it to where she had to make it to. But I'm like, I would have the climate, the social climate that we're in now. I'm not going to a protest to protest anything that I have no idea about. She had
No,
no idea why she was going to the protest, but she wanted to go to support her friend. Just a lot different.
isn't
Generations
that,
are completely different. It's
oh
crazy.
God, isn't that just freaking amazing though? Like,
Abs-
I
absolutely.
don't care. I'm just
They
gonna
don't
vibe
care.
with this person.
Just gonna go.
I mean, yeah, it takes some courage. It takes some
It
courage.
does.
Maybe, and in a way, see, because the way that I grew up and my old mind somehow comes in of, oh my God, I would be so afraid, or what if something happens and stuff like that. And then I have to remind myself that it doesn't work like that all the time. Everybody's got their own path, and
That's
and
right.
everybody learns in their own kind of way. So
That's
even
right.
if anything, God forbid, ever happens, it's because that's what was supposed to happen, and we all
Right.
grow and learn from it. Like,
Hmm.
would you be where you are right now if the stuff that's happened in your life wouldn't have happened?
No.
Probably not.
No. No.
Probably not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Everything that we have or we do in life is through our experiences helps us grow. It
Hmm.
helps us see things from a different lens. And without those challenging moments and those things, sometimes in many cases, we will not grow. it's because we have those things go on. It may not be comfortable for us. Most times it's not. But if it challenges you and it pushes you, it's making you grow. You just got to stick with the process, understand what it is, stay at it, do it, push the weight, continue to push the weight. And at some point, you have a phenomenal physique. You got to continue to push that proverbial weight and get to a point where you'll be at your beach weight, but at your beach look. If you don't push the weight, you can't go on the beach with your shirt off. You just can't do it.
I don't believe in that bullshit. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I mean, I believe in the story of it, but the whole idea of having a beach body or whatever, no. Everybody is a beach body, so I'm not, I'm not doing that. I'm not going down that. But I do
Yeah.
understand. I understand where
Yes.
you're from with the discipline of doing
Yeah.
something.
You got to do it. You got to push the
And it
weight. You
doesn't
got to
have to
work out.
be, yes, and it doesn't have to be 100% every day. It can be, because you can't sustain 100% every day.
That's right.
That's what I believe.
That's
If
very
it's
true.
80, 70%, but it's consistent, then that's
Mhm.
what shows. That's what gets you to the beach
That's what
body.
gets you to the beach body. That's all. It's just a level of consistency. I'm not saying you have a beach body, but if you're going to do it, everybody has
Yes.
different body textures or body forms. So when you do it, just understand it'll help you. You can walk to the beach a little easier. I can guarantee you won't be out of breath, but at least you can get there. Just continue to work. Just work. Push the weight and you'll see results.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is going in so many
Yeah.
places. I love it. Oh my god! So now, because we're at this fun part, what do you do for fun? What
um
what what makes you giggle?
what makes I love looking at comedy. I love acting a fool in here.
Nice.
I love working out. I love my studio. I stay here a lot. So I do not just for professional, but I do that for fun too. I love playing pool. I love bowling. I love just tinkering around and I'm an electronic guy. I love a lot of electronics and tinkering around with different things. So I definitely stay busy. I love to think. I
Mm,
love perspective conversations, conscious talk. I love talking about different ideas. I love exploring different conversations. I love exploring those things. That helps me grow,
mm-hmm.
and not be so shallow and tunnel minded. And I love hearing people's perspectives about certain things, even if I don't agree with them. I think it's
Yeah,
still healthy to have those conversations.
that's
So I
where growth
love, yeah.
happens,
Back to the beach talk. See, back to the beach talk.
right? Back to the beach talk. I mean, this is where
Yeah.
growth happens. Like, because you,
Hmm.
like you said, if you keep listening to the same people and hearing the same thing, and it's only this vision, you don't broaden your own mind
Very
and your
true.
own growth. So, are there any subjects in particular that you're interested in now, like currently in your life, that you feel like you're wanting to expand or learn more about?
Hmm. Relationships and love.
Simple topic that everybody everybody talks about, knows
Yeah,
about.
but
It's so challenging,
it's
though, I find.
it's challenging. But I think sometimes people are more or less either turned on or turned off by what they've heard already. And I think
Yeah.
some people are people would rather use their opinion about it as opposed to what their experience was. So your experience is going to be the opinion. But the
Yes.
fact of the matter is what your experience was and what you've come to a conclusion was about that one thing. So relationships and love, I think we can't have enough conversation about that. The only thing would be added to that is if we would take the conversations and bottle them up and be able to sell it. That's the challenge. If we could just allow people to see what the conversation is and come to the conclusion and see what that relationship is and use it to help them build better relationships. So I
Mm.
think that's very important. I think sometimes people can just be so pig-headed in their opinions and they're not willing to move, even when you fact check them, even when your answers contradict what they say. So when you provide them with the truth, provide them with the answers, sometimes they still don't want to hear what it
Mm.
is. So that's the challenge. So
Mhm.
getting back into having those conversations about religion, huge topic. Who's right? Who's wrong? Love. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Who knows anymore?
Yeah, sexual preference. Who's
Yeah.
right? Who's wrong? Like all of those things, I think need a conversation because somebody always has to say Well, who's wrong? It
There is no
can't
wrong.
be. There's
There is no wrong and there is no
exactly,
right. That's the
exactly.
thing. That's
But
the trick.
we have to convince them that there is no wrong. If you're not hurting anybody, if you're not doing all of those things, if you're not, you know, you're not wrong. It's just like it's okay to have a difference of opinion. But
Hmm.
just because I have a difference of opinion doesn't mean that, you ain't shit. You know what I mean? If I think different, if I see different, if my opinion, that doesn't that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything other than you have a right to your opinion. That's
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
those are the conversations that I would love to unpack. We will at some point.
I was gonna say we could have started this at the fucking beginning, not now,
Yeah,
because it's those topics in particular: religion, sex, money, relationships, love, and of course, love. I feel like love has a foot in all of those. So
absolutely.
because we classify love or we see it mostly as a human
Hmm.
experience rather than that unconditional love, that godly love that
Absolutely.
is
Right.
everything.
Right.
And it's so interesting because today I watched a little clip with Peter Crone and he was talking about every emotion that we have, even sadness or grief, let's say, has it has something to do with love, because when there's grief, let's say, it's the loss of love, like
Hmm.
from that perspective, and
Hmm.
everything has love in it. It's just the perspective of how we see it.
Right.
And I don't think there's a particular truth, to be honest, to be held. I
Hmm.
think each and every one of us have a different perspective of the same truth.
Right.
That's where religion comes in. That's where, I don't know, politics come in. Like politics,
Oh
not
my
a
God.
subject that I touch. And you know why? Because I know nothing about it. I know nothing about politics, nothing whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you can talk if you like about it. I'll be like, sure.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't.
know.
I don't know nothing about it other than what I see on the news, and I don't trust most of what I hear.
Oh, you watch
Um,
the news?
no, no, no,
Bad.
no,
So
no, no.
bad.
I don't watch it. Social media and what I see come
Yeah.
across. I never ever believe any of that sort of stuff. I always look at that glass half full. I'm like,
Yes.
something is not being said. There's
Mm,
always something else that we don't know. Always something else that we don't know. And what happens sometimes with all of these digital platforms, in most cases, they're trying to sway you to think a certain way. So
sure.
I'm never, thrown off about it. It's like, yeah, yeah. I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
something I can kind of feel when it ain't kind of vibing right to me. I'm like, yeah, something ain't quite right.
Yeah,
But
because we all have our own little feelers, out there
yeah, that's
into
still
the
strong
world.
voice. That's still
Yeah.
strong voice is there, and it's kind of be like, I don't know, I don't know. But you know, that's the life that we live in the world that we live in. We gotta kind of pay attention, be vigilant, don't
I
climb
mean,
down.
whatever we pay attention to, like where attention goes, energy flows. Got it. Oh my God, it took me a while. So
Mm.
what we pay attention to, that's what we put more energy into. So if you look, like you said, you watch the news, so wrong. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
not
That's
like
my
that. No.
so wrong. I haven't watched the news since I don't even know, probably when I was in my 20s. I don't know, way, way, way,
Yeah,
many years ago.
I'm
So,
agitated at that. I just, yeah, nah. What's crazy about it is we're looking for a world with peace. We're
yeah.
looking for a world that's just going to be peaceful. I think it could happen if everybody gets on the same page. Will that ever happen? Probably not. But I'm surely not going to be the protagonist of just foolishness, continuous, and it never stops. They
Mm.
through the whole broadcast of the news, one one thing on it could be nice. One, they'll talk about a bird. It's like, oh, what a birds. Oh, wonderful birds, and everything else is just not good. I'm like, man,
See,
like,
this is why I don't like watching the
like
news.
man.
This is
I
why,
was like, man,
honestly, like, I tell everybody that why watch the news? And I haven't. It's so funny because I haven't heard of anybody watching the news in a really long time. So you're
nah,
special that way.
I
I
don't
guess
watch the news. I don't watch the news.
good.
I do not
Yeah,
watch the news.
of course,
Uh,
everybody, each to their own, right? But
yep. Good luck. Hope it
that's
works
such
out for you. But yeah, nah. I would prefer to hear something with a lot more positivity.
yeah.
Current events and all that sort of stuff. I may pay attention. They're just horrible with just promoting positivity. Just horrible doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you said about the world peace, and it's funny because I had Friday, I interviewed somebody that has a mission that he wants to create meditation, like group meditations for a lot of people
Hmm.
to meditate around world peace. And I asked him the question, like, why do you want to do that? Like, why do you want to put this out? Because in my perspective, the peace comes from within.
Hmm.
If you want to achieve world peace, if you can't find it within.
Very true.
So I totally believe everything starts from within.
Right.
Everything starts. So what you're doing with wanting to spread positivity with your message, with your music, with whatever you do out into the world, fair dues to you, man. Cause
Hmm.
cause cause that's how it all starts. It starts with the one.
Right.
Because we may think that one person may not have that much power, but we do. Because
Absolutely.
it's one here and it's one here and it's one here and then they add up, right? Because
Yep.
it's the same as everything else. It all adds up.
Very true. We just got to
Man, this
stay
has
in it.
been this has been so fucking cool. I don't even know. I want to ask you so many other questions, but
Ask away.
oh my god, I don't know where to start. Oh my god, we spoke about what are your religion beliefs? Because we touched on that. Like, what
Hmm.
is your belief? Do you believe there's a God up there in
Hmm.
the sky somewhere, or do you believe there's something, a greater power?
Hmm.
What do you believe?
All of that, and whatever that is, I'll leave it there. For me,
Oh,
I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. That's just what my belief system is,
yeah.
and this is the way I believe about that. Okay, Jesus Christ is my savior.
Mhm.
That's my savior. So that's what I believe in. I do not believe that everybody is subject to that same God, right? Everybody has a description on what that is for them. It
Mhm.
is not, for me, it's not my job to make certain that everybody in the world is converted to Christianity. That's not what my job is. That's God's job.
Mhm.
I have to allow my light to shine, and whatever that looks like to people, let that be. Whoever makes it to heaven or hell, that's not my call. I don't have anything to do with that. I don't have a desire to be Muslim. I don't have a desire to be any other religion. But I'm not looking at them like they're wrong.
Mm.
Not looking like
Mhm.
they're wrong and they're not going to make it into the heavenly gates. I don't believe that. That's not my call.
Yeah.
So I can have a conversation with anybody. I don't care what religion you are. I just think sometimes, we're such an advocate on our God that we miss it. It's not our call to make that decision. It's okay to be whatever you want to be. It's not worried about that. I'm this way because I had an encounter with Jesus Christ. At least that's what my perception of it is. Someone else may have had another encounter with some other sort of God. And that's what they call it. I love America. I love this world. You can choose whatever religion you want. As soon as I'm told that I have to be a certain person or I
Mm.
have to believe in a certain thing, there's where my freedom of expression starts to change.
Mhm.
And there's where you'd be rebellious. But for me, I'm equivalent. I'm just a Jesus. I love Christ. I love the story of him. I love the Bible. I love all of that. But because I love those sorts of things, whatever God's going to judge, I'm going to allow him to do that. I ain't God. I'm a little guy that's in his home doing music, talking about positivity. So I'm going to allow my love for humanity, my love for Christ to shine through my music. So that's why I can do R&B music, because I believe the essence of Christ, that spirit needs to be present in R&B, right? So when I
Yeah.
put music out, there's an essence of Christ there because I'm talking about positivity and love. You're supposed to love women. You're supposed to love everybody. You're supposed to be respectful. You're supposed to help the old lady across the street. You're supposed to listen to people with difference of opinion. That's how we grow, right? So sometimes you could be so religious, where you are out of the will, in my opinion, because that's when you're getting to judging people and saying they're not going to make it to heaven and they're not going to do that. And you're pointing the finger, and you got three of them pointed back at you, because most times when you're that judgmental, you're probably going to be not the one that makes it in. But again, I'm not even going to judge them. I'm gonna let God judge them for me. So that's my take on it in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Yeah.
I love it
Yeah.
because you're speaking a lot of truth, I find, in there, because we all have difference of opinions. We all
Yeah.
have our own different way of seeing things. And that too, what you just said about some people become so religious or so spiritual that they forget about
Hmm.
all the judgment that they put onto others. It just
Yep.
becomes an inflation of ego more than
Hmm.
anything. You
Hmm.
mentioned something about your encounter with Jesus. Is
Hmm.
there something in particular that you experienced, or
Hmm.
is it just by your everyday, I don't know, things that
Yeah.
you
Yeah. So I was born into religion to love Jesus Christ, right? So that is where I was born. I often ask a question. So, you know, because I was born into Jesus or born into that religion, does that make any other person that's born into it without any other choice that different? No, it doesn't make anybody different. So my encounter was basically I was going through a lot in the season of my life, and I was making a huge amount of bad choices. Bad choices. I just was deciding to do so many different things, very immature, just deciding to do whatever I wanted to when I wanted to do. What happened was I was sitting in a vehicle that I had at the time, and I was just pondering on so many different things in my life, and I was like, man, yeah, this ain't. I'm convicted at that point because it was like, man, this ain't what I'm really supposed to be doing. It's like at some point, like this has got to stop. I just kind of kept having that feeling like, man, something isn't right about this. I don't think I need to be out here doing any of this stuff, sort of stuff. It was at that moment in that car where I was like, man, is this what real salvation is? Is this what real the encounter with him really is? And that still small voice was like, yeah. So that spirit that I felt wasn't he allowed me to look at what I was doing and what my experiences was and check it against the spirit that he has, which was love, respect, honor, all of those sorts of things. So he kind of counteracted those things and kind of made me say, man, am I really putting forth those energies out here? If am I, and I wasn't. So I had to check that against what I know he is. Once I did that, it was easy for me to accept him, like, man, really accept him, not just necessarily just be born into it, but actually really accept him, because at that point I had an encounter with him. I know what that feeling is. Once I had that encounter, I was off to the races, maturing, because it's not at that moment that you just kind of automatically mature. It's
not
still a
part of it?
process. It's still a process. It's still something you have to kind of get to where you really understand what it is. And once I got into really understanding, it was easier for me to kind of still process it and trust me, just because you walk into that knowledge doesn't make you a mature individual overnight. There's still a process that throughout that walk you'll continually have. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Once you're not having that walk and you feel that you've reached that level of perfection, yeah, you're not on earth no more. There's no more. Your existence is to naught. You will always need to grow. You will always need to mature. You will never know all of the answers. It'll just be, every day, every hour, you have to kind of still go for that information, go for that knowledge, and not just be shut off and just say, well, I know everything. No, I'm not experienced. I have a lot of, I'm not an expert, they say. I'm not an expert. I just have a lot of experience.
Hmm. I
So,
love
so
the
yeah,
I love, if we knew everything, we wouldn't be here. I totally
absolutely.
believe that. If we had
Facts.
all the knowledge, we would be transitioned in the other realities in
Absolutely. Even
else.
even the smartest philosopher isn't smart at
Yeah.
all when it comes to what the power of God, has. Whatever that God you call him, whatever that is. I say Jesus, some say Muhammad, some say whatever that is. God, in the essence of God, if there's nobody greater than that, there's nothing greater than that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love when people share their stories of
Mm,
that moment, that you said you
mm,
were in the car and you
yep.
realized something, the moment of realization,
Yep.
basically, an
Yep.
insight of, oh my God, like waking up literally
I
to,
literally
this
woke
is
up
not
like,
what I need to do. This is
mhm,
not what I feel like my soul is calling me to do.
right.
I love hearing those stories. It just does something to my soul too,
Yeah.
because because see, partly why I'm doing this is because I want to meet new people and I want to
Mm-hmm.
learn, like you were saying, expand your growth,
Yep.
basically. Because if you keep looking through the same tunnel of the things that you know, you're
Right.
not going to learn something new. So this
Very
for
true.
me, I love this.
Very
I
true.
love because I can
Yes.
have people here to share their
That's
knowledge
right.
in
That's right.
whichever area of their life. Like we started this with music, and where have we ended on religion?
And
Because
religion. Right
it's all
on the Phoenix podcast. Right on the Phoenix
yes,
podcast.
yes, and it's the first episode that's actually called the Phoenix Podcast, which
Oh man.
it was such a see for me a little bit of my story, I guess, with this. It was such a that voice, that calls you
Mm.
of just do it. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't
Yep.
have to be because this is what stops a lot of people to start. Oh,
That's
but I
right.
have to have this, but I have to have that. Oh, I don't
Yep.
know this, I don't know that. Well, you're never gonna start that way. So, oh, I am so glad that I did.
Yeah.
I'm
And
so
look at
glad that I
this.
did. I'm
And
so
look at
glad that
this.
your PR reached out to me.
That's wonderful. Thank her to Kick Up Your Heels, Katrina Hertz, Rachel. Man, appreciate y'all.
Yes, there
Big
you
shout.
go. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
Wow, where can people find you, by the way?
Everywhere. My website is kennyjmusic.com. You can go there and get and see whatever I'm doing. All of the music on all your favorite digital platforms. On Facebook, you can reach me at Kenny J Wilkins. On Instagram, you can reach me at Kenny Wilkins. On TikTok, you can reach me at Kenny J Wilkins #7. And that's all of my handles. DM me, check me out, look at the music. Right now, I'm going for a Grammy. I've became a part of the Grammy Association. I'm a
Wow.
Grammy voting member. So all of those things are just contributed to just the spread of love. So I take it everybody is really ecstatic about it, and I'm appreciative of it. But I'm just pushing love into areas that I believe I need to push it. So it's not that my presence alone is going to make it happen, but we need as much love in different areas of the world that we can get it. So I'm glad to be there to help support the artists there and even myself. So we'll see.
Oh, I freaking love that.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Being part of it makes my heart expand as well.
Yeah.
Because here I am. I'm part of it. I am
Mhm.
part of it. So
Mhm.
thank you very much. I'm very grateful for you being
Yeah.
here
Thank
and
you. Thank you. I
and
appreciate it.
doing this. Oh my
Mhm.
God, I freaking
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I think this is it.
That's it. That's
I
it.
think that's it.
Cut, paste, print. Let's get it.
Oh my God. See, it's gonna be a while until this comes out because
That's cool.
when I put a post out, that I think that's where your friend what is she to you? What do you call her?
PR. She's my
She's your
PR.
PR. See, I've been calling
Yeah.
her your PR, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
Yeah. Mhm.
But she reached out on that post that I made, and
Mhm.
a lot of people have reached out. So I've got such a backlog now. I think yours is probably going to come out in whether end of November or beginning of December,
Well,
sometime
that's
then,
good. It works.
which is cool.
Yep.
Perfect for me.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
oh man, I'm so grateful for you being here and for
Thank you
all
for
the
having
work that you do into the world. And
Thank you.
see, this is what touches me the most, which is the fact that you work on yourself. You do the work on yourself
Yeah.
to be able to put the clearest and purest of message out there, right?
Yeah.
To your base capabilities.
It's important, and again, it isn't as popular as many people will think it is, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it
Exactly.
because it's in my heart and it's something that I really truly believe in, and
Yeah.
that's where it at, man. Big shout to the Phoenix podcast. I appreciate you for getting me on. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Such a pleasure too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
All right, I will. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.